Peace. Welcome back to the Voices of Reason show. I'm your host, Skilo Slim, and today we have a very special guest in the building. I'm going to throw it around to her so she can introduce herself. Good morning.
My name is Precious McKesson. I am the constituency director for the Nebraska Democratic Party, and I'm also the president of the North Omaha Neighborhood Alliance.
Oh, yeah, that's dope. That's dope. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Where you want to start?
Wherever you want to, you just go in there, just dive in.
Since we had everybody from the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance.
Okay, what's up?
So what's the north side? Can you fill us in with the north side?
North side, we're basically the same. It's modeled the same way. That's really how North Omaha Neighborhood Alliance did start. We started being modeled after what South Omaha is doing. So basically, the neighborhood alliances support the neighborhood associations in the community. I never say that we're over them, because I don't ever want people to feel like I'm like superior to them. So I always say, what we do, we basically support the neighborhood associations, assisting them with neighborhood cleanup, grants. We bring in visitors. Like, we just had a speaker from the American Red Cross, because they're doing a national smoke alarm for the homes and stuff. So we try to make sure we're connecting the North Omaha neighborhoods to resources that will assist them and everything. So
Right. So if like people have a question, or if they want to do something community oriented, they can come through and do it.
They come through NONA. I mean, we support the neighborhood associations, just trying to make sure they have that support to continue to build safe neighborhoods and be able to have neighborhood engagement. And that's what we really want to do. That's the ultimate goal, is to make sure that people that live in neighborhoods, no matter if they're renters, owners, college students, whoever, they have a say in that neighborhood, and this is where they live, and we want to make sure that they're active in that neighborhood to continue to make them safe. Right.
So like a person could join like NONA, or is it like they have an organization of their own and then partner?
They partner. So many people are part of they're part of North Omaha Neighborhood Associations. So they might be a part of Miller Park, Minnelusa Neighborhood Association. Right. They could be a part of Belvedere Point, Benny Worth Spencer. So what they do, they have their neighborhood association, but then NONA basically is the alliance that represents the neighborhood association. So they can do either or. There is some people that do just come to NONA, may not have a neighborhood association. For me, for example, with me, I live in a neighborhood that I'm not active with my neighborhood association because we're trying to reactivate it now, but I'm a part of NONA, basically, that represents all the neighborhood associations.
Oh, okay. So how's it working with the Democratic Party? Like, what's that?
It's been a really great year. I'll be honest with you. I just hit a year with them. I came in there and it was just ready to go. It wasn't. Right. It was no transition of, hey, we're going to take baby steps. It was like just all in. And so I've had so many experiences with them. I've attended two DNC, which is a Democratic National Convention meetings. So I've been in the room with Maxine Waters, Stacey Abrams, Al Sharpton, like with all of them. Like I didn't want to be starstruck, but I'm like, you see these people on TV.
Hard, yeah.
It's hard. Maxine 2 rows ahead of you. You're like, wait a minute. So I've been working with them, been in the DNC meeting, so I'm able to see what they're doing on a national level. I've also attended Black Campaign School, which is done by the Collective PAC. It's a African American PAC that really endorses all of the key candidates that you've seen, African American candidates that you've seen run, including Kamala Harris, Deidre DeJear, who ran in Iowa for Secretary of State, the young lady who ran down in St. Louis, Tashara Jones, she ran for in St. Louis. So they're like picking up these key states, and right now they've done something different this year where they're actually going to different states and holding Black Campaign School. So this weekend they're in Greenville, South Carolina. So they're really expanding, and so I'm excited to be joining them in July again for my second Black Campaign School, and I actually will be sitting down with them early June to talk about if I ever decide to run, but about possible candidate endorsement. So I'm excited. So much has been going on with the Democratic Party here, especially in Nebraska. The main thing that when I took that job, I wanted to make sure they understood that we had to be in North Omaha. Right. We had to have a presence, because not saying that South Omaha and any other, they don't need that presence, but they normally have a little bit more. So we wanted to make sure that North Omaha was represented, because normally what we see is a lot of candidates or politicians come into North Omaha during election season and then they leave. Yeah, you don't see them. We can't do that, because right now our votes are very critical and we have a very low voter turnout, and so we want to increase that. So this year with Black Votes Matter, we did the political convention with with a lot of different nonprofits and sororities, and that was under NONA. So I know how to switch my hats when it comes
Back
to
and forth,
nonprofits
yeah.
because our 501c3s, but we had a big role with that political convention last year where we had all the candidates come in and be able to talk about why they're running. And we had a great voter turnout across Nebraska. Out of all the candidates that were underneath the Democratic ticket, there's over 850 candidates that ran across Nebraska, 73% won.
Wow.
So that is really good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's invested, but my main concern is making sure that we have communities of color and candidates of color that are running and that they're able to get the same support as a candidate that doesn't look like them. And so we're really working on that this summer. I'm actually was just just elected the chair of the Black Caucus, of the Nebraska Black Caucus. So we want to go on a Black Caucus tour because people don't know that there's really communities out here, like you got Norfolk, you have Lexington, Nebraska, Grand Island, Hastings. These have communities of color, whether it's our Muslim community, our Hispanic community, African Americans.
Wow.
So we're going on a Black Caucus tour this summer, and we're going to hit up those different cities to be able to let the people in those communities know that, hey, the Black Caucus is here for you because it's a state Black Caucus. We're here to represent you. What do we need to do to make sure you're being engaged and getting the right information so that you're exercising your right to vote and stuff? So it's pretty cool so far.
That's dope. I'm proud of that work that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm glad that you're doing that. But okay, for people who don't know, what exactly does the Black Caucus do?
The Black Caucus, well, see, you have a national Black Caucus, and normally what they do, they represent, the Congressional Black Caucus is formulated by the the elected officials. And then you have the different people that come in from different states. So the Black Caucus is really there to represent communities of color. We do have a Native caucus. We also have a Latino caucus, and then we have the Black Caucus. So each caucus represents their community. Right. So what we need to be doing, what the Black Caucus should be doing, in which I give big kudos to Kimra Snipe, because Kimra came in and really revamped it, because it was not doing what it was supposed to do. And then because she was on the school board now, she had to go, she had to make a decision where she said, you know what, I'm on the school board, I'm working 2 full-time jobs, I gotta let something go. But she's still active with the party, but it was like she really laid down a good path for us to continue the work that she was doing. And so we really want to make sure that the Black Caucus is really reaching different areas and being able to have a voice at the table when it comes to the Nebraska Democratic Party. So when we go, this is one thing I see when we go to the state, it's called a state central committee meeting, and basically we hold them in different congressional districts. And when we do that, those how can I say, we don't have a good representation.
Right.
So it's normally me as an employee of the state party, as a constituency director, I'm there all the time, but we don't see us at the table. So what I'm trying to do is really try to pull more people of color into the Democratic Party so they understand why it's important to be a part of it. And that's what the Black Caucus is supposed to do. We're supposed to be there to represent the communities of our African American communities, make sure that we're getting the necessary information to vote, making sure that we're going out to the communities of our felons, our former felons who don't know after 2 years they can vote.
Right.
Our job is, yes, it's a major thing. Our thing is to make sure that we are touching those communities and letting them know and being their representation. So if they have a question, they can come to the Black Caucus. They can come to somebody and say, hey, we have this, we need this. And so we want to make sure that we're being visible so that they're not in this by themselves. It's all of us out here. So
right, definitely. That's one of the main reasons that I wanted you to come too, was because I see like a lot of stuff, like when I talk to people, and it's like they don't feel as if the Democratic Party represents them, and they don't really know how to get involved with the political process.
And they're right. They're absolutely right. Because people, what they don't understand, a lot of people don't realize is that, well, I should say the Democratic Party doesn't understand, not people. The Democratic Party doesn't understand that they now are realizing that, especially with the black woman is the backbone of the Democratic Party. Right. Black women show up and vote so high. Right. If you look at Alabama, what happened in Alabama with Doug Jones, you have Doug Jones going against, I think it was Roy something. He was a judge. I don't even want to give him credit, because Doug Jones was basically the face of the African American community, because he was able to convict those two people who bombed, the two Ku Klux Klan members who bombed the 16th Street Baptist Church. So in his eyes, the black community was like, he don't want to use a white savior mentality, but he really kind of came in and was like, no, 30 years after, and what was so historic about that with me is that I was actually living in Birmingham when they were actually arrested.
Wow.
So just to know that so many years ago, they did this, over 30 years ago, and then for them to be arrested in 2000, it was in 2000, like early 2000, to be arrested and convicted. So when Doug Jones went to run, a lot of people was like, oh, well, how do we do this? But then you had Roy, who was, had these sexual explicit things. And then what happened, the black women of Alabama, they came together so strong and they mobilized that whole entire state to turn out that vote for Doug Jones. So that's how people are able to see that. It just takes black women to step up and say, no, this is what we're going to do. Those black women didn't have no egos involved. Those black women said, we are on a mission, and our mission is to make sure that Roy is not elected.
And they did it.
And they did it.
Yeah.
They did it.
That says a lot.
And that's why I say that's why some people sometimes, the Democratic Party has to understand, and I think they are understanding it, that we are the representation. There's one thing that they showed, and it's like my favorite PSA that they have is called TikTok. And it's a young man I think it's down in Louisiana. And the way he said it, it's just strong. And everybody can look that up. Just go DNC TikTok PSA. It's the strongest PSA I've ever heard. And we actually played it at the Nebraska State Central Committee meeting, because I feel like they have to understand that we have an existence, and we've always had an existence. Right. And if you want our vote, you're going to make sure we're at the table, and you're going to make sure that what we want is being addressed, because there's a lot of issues that are not being addressed. And right now with these candidates, I think we have to hold them accountable, because we have our mass incarceration, we have black men being killed daily by white police officers and getting off. These things have to be addressed, because for some reason they think if we don't get the right people in office, it'll continue to go the way it's going. Right. We have to make a change. These district attorneys, these people who are representing, it has to change. If these people are letting off these criminals, look in St. Louis, they got rid of that district attorney.
Yeah, that's what it takes.
Got rid of him. I think, was it Nixon? I think his name, Jay Nixon was the governor. So the other, I don't remember his name, but he was the main one who didn't charge the police officer in Ferguson. He's no longer there. It's now a black man.
Right.
So. Right. We have a say. We just have to be confident in what we do and actually go to the table and say, this is what we want. Get quality candidates and support those candidates.
Definitely.
We have to support our candidates of color, because we had some great candidates this past election. And Mike Hughes, really Spencer Danner, they were. Yeah. Mike Hughes, Spencer Danner, Jennifer Hernandez. They were in key spots. Secretary of State, Sheriff, Clerk of District Court. People didn't understand what those roles. If you don't understand what roles that people are going for, you need to learn, because Secretary of State, they deal with our voting rights. Right. They trying to get voter ID. They may not do. This is the first year. I think first time in a while they haven't bring up voter ID in the legislature. Then you have Mike Hughes, who could have been the first sheriff, black sheriff, dealing with the pulling over African Americans. How do you have a high number of African Americans higher than the population? Right. How does that work? Then you have the Clerk of District Court. You have Jennifer Hernandez, who was an Asian woman, and she could have came in and really did some changes, because those are the ones who are the most of the people that go to the Clerk of District Court, people of color. Right. We have to realize we have to get people in office who represent us, especially when we're the ones who are being affected by the issues that are going on.
Understand what's going on out here. That's a big part of it.
Big part of it.
Right. So if a young person wanted to get involved, into the whole politics thing, what would be the first piece of advice?
Call me.
Call you?
Call me. Because let me tell you something. I have had the opportunity to put our young people in places that they didn't know. Like, for instance, Nadia Spurlock. She's a senior at North High School. She was able to get onto the 18 by 18, which is done by Yashara. I destroyed this young lady's name, but she's the young lady from Blackish. Okay. She created an organization called 18 by 18, basically making sure that she can get 18-year-olds who are 18 by 2018 engaged in voting. Right. Very awesome organization. I had did some stuff with the town hall project, which they actually they put on the tours for the March for Our Lives tour. Okay, so we had some students from Parkland who were actually involved in Parkland. Wow. The Parkland shooting come to Omaha and do the March for Our Lives tour. And I made that connection with them bringing volunteers, and they reached out and said, hey, we need a representation for Nebraska. Can you send us some names? Nadia Spurlock applied, was sent out to LA. Oh, all dope. Expense paid. to be able to participate and to know how to get engaged. Tony Vargas has Senator Tony Vargas, I should say Tony Vargas. Senator Tony Vargas
Right on.
has a community program coming up soon. I think it's, I can send you the dates. It's the first week of June. I think it's the first Saturday in June. It's on his page. If you go to his senator page, and the teenagers are looking for sophomores to graduating high school seniors to get politically engaged. How do they get engaged in politics? So there's a Google form on his actual thing, or you can go to NONA's website. It's on the NONA's website also. But we're really opening up the doors for teenagers and for our young ones to get involved, starting at the sophomore in high school, because no matter what, even if you can't vote at 18, you can't vote until you're 18, you have a voice.
Right.
And your voice can carry to your family members, your issues and everything. So we want to make sure that we're touching those kids who, when they're 18, when they turn 18, that's our future. Like,
they're
that's
ready.
Big. Yeah, because there was kids out in Vermont running for mayor and stuff, like
I was
13
hearing about
and 14.
That. You're like, I didn't even know you could do that.
I didn't either.
When I turned 18, I was ready to vote. My mom took me for the first time. The only thing she said was, vote for Ernie Chambers. And I was like, okay.
Well, you know what? I've been a registered voter since April of 1997. Registered voter. And that was before I turned 18 in 97. So I registered a month before I was turning 18. And that's the one thing that I always make sure. I think I missed a few elections, and when I go back and I look at my voting record, I'm like, well, I wonder what was I doing during this time,
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, like, I actually take my daughter with me to vote because I want her to understand it. Like, that's to be our thing. We'll go vote and go get her Starbucks in the morning.
Definitely.
Okay, let's go vote. So, you can vote by mail, and that's one thing I want people to understand. Like, there's ways to vote where if you don't want to go to the poll, voting by mail is one of the things that's going to, hopefully that will be the thing that will go for eternity. It'll start. Because in Oregon, I think it's Oregon or Washington, one of the two, they can only vote by mail. They don't go to the polls. Yeah, you just vote by mail.
That's kind of dope, though.
It is very, because you get your ballot, you can research your ballot, put it in the mail, boom.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And I think that people will be more apt to say, because sometimes, you go to the voting poll place and, sometimes you feel like, I know me personally, one year I went to vote and the lady was like, I need your ID. I'm like, what you need my ID for?
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
Oh, because of this. I said, you know what? Let me go give you this ID, because see, you're not gonna take away what I can do. Yeah. This is my right. This is my civic duty to vote. To vote. So if it's what you want to do, you can do it. But there's some people who, you can turn that person off, by just the fact of just the way your words or the way you express it to them. That could turn a whole community off. Definitely. And we have to make sure that we're watching how they're changing the redistricting, because that takes away our polling places. They try so hard to give us to do voter suppression. Look what happened in Georgia. Right. Let me tell you something. They have control of it. They can do it, but we have to always stay 10 steps ahead of the game and making sure we have people who are voicing that. And when we see that happening, we're going to the table like, nah, this can't roll like this. Yeah, definitely. And just be dead serious about it.
Definitely, because that's the big thing too. You see that, how they redraw the districts, and I'm like, is that legal? Like, you can do that?
No, they can do it. It's gerrymandering. They can do it. But you can stop it at a state level. Right. And that's why we have to look at who is representing us in the legislature. How do we control that? And just like with the our felon voters, they shouldn't have to wait 2 years to vote. Right. Instantly, once you have gave your time to your crime, you should be able to vote. And I think Senator Wayne has stressed that, and we continue to stress that. But this is my thing, if they don't want to get rid of it, and if the governor doesn't want to get rid of it, that's okay. But we're going to make sure that our former felons understand that you are a citizen, and if you're paying tax dollars and you're going to work, you have a right to vote, and we're going to make sure that they have that right to vote. And so that's why we're really going to push hard, because there's a population that don't know that after 2 years you can vote. And that's the sad part, because they don't tell them. Yeah. They don't tell them. Yeah. And that's because they're trying to do voter suppression.
Right. And we can't allow that to happen.
We can't allow that to happen, because a lot of us have, people do things in life and they deserve a second chance. Yeah. And sometimes you don't know what made that person go that path. So don't try to take something from them, because there's people who could have done something to feed their family and become now a convicted felon. They didn't do like a murder. They didn't do that. They did something minute to be able to provide for their family, and you mean to tell me that you're going to take their voting rights, or you're not going to tell them they can vote? So we got to figure out how to really put that out there and let people know that they can vote after 2 years.
Definitely. And like you said, if you pay, like they say, your debt to society, you
paying
know,
taxes.
Yeah, you pay taxes, like, so you should have a voice.
You have a voice. If you're paying taxes, you should have a voice no matter what.
Right. Now, if you choose to not use it, then that's on you.
That's on you.
But it should be there, though.
It should automatically be there. Yes.
Right, definitely. So before I let you get out of here, I know that you are involved with the all the YBI stuff.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and like
Man.
your experience with that?
Oh man, Young, Black, and Influential. So I was a recipient in, I think this is our third class. So I was a recipient in 2017, the first class, and it was just this whole. It's been awesome, the whole experience. We have tapped into a community that sometimes, these are the people, I always say the unsung heroes, the people you don't hear about, the people who are actually in the trenches doing the work, and they don't look for something to say, hey, you got this, you did this. So this year, the last 2 years, we've seen some awesome people come through. We've experienced different things. We've experienced we sat on a panel for the YP conference for young professionals with Omaha Chamber. We've been put into places where we're able to be at seats at the table. It's grown. It's really grown our resume. It's grown what we've done as a community and our involvement. So it's kind of like you have this thing where it's like now you're really being held accountable for everything, and you're like the voice. Oh no, you're a Young, Black, and Influential award recipient. It's like an honor to be that, because number one, this is an award that's for us, by us.
Right.
It's not. It's no other way that anybody else could duplicate that. If they duplicate it, there'll be a lot of people coming for whoever did it. So it can't. It's something that it's us. It's ours. You know.
And that's a beautiful thing.
And Ashley Spivey has done an awesome job with that. I don't care with everything to where we have it at, who the catering is, who the decorators are. It's all people of color. She makes sure that this is a way to celebrate us.
Yeah, and it's like it's an event. It makes you feel good to be a part of it.
Very good. It's on June 30th this year, and I'm actually in Scottsbluff. I go with Scottsbluff, I think, on that Thursday. I'm actually getting up on that Sunday at 2:00 in the morning and driving back. So make sure that everybody get the tickets. I think tickets are actually sold out, but if you still want to sponsor, you guys go to you can go to the YBI Influential Omaha, Young Black Influential Omaha, and do that. And then we're hosting a Shred Day with YBI on June 8th at OSBN from 9 to 12. So it's going to be a free shred day for the community, as well as we're doing a spring cleanup on May 11th at Skinner. So from 9 to 2, people can drop off their stuff at Skinner. We just want to make sure, we're collaborating everywhere. So, shout out to Ashley with YBI.
Yeah, definitely
and the new
shout out to her.
2019 recipients. Man, it's going to be hard to. Every year it gets different when you see the people. It's like, hey, who else? Sooner or later, somebody out of the YBI going to be running for office out of that group, or somebody going to be doing something, taking over. So they might as well watch out, because we're truly there. So.
Yeah, it's a dope thing.
I'm
glad that I can be close, to it, and even know what's happening.
It's just it's an amazing thing, to have something that represents us. It makes us happy to be a part of that, and then. It's getting a lot of recognition. People are looking at it. So hopefully, one day it'll be a national thing where it can be, chapters throughout the United States, and Ashley is the chapter, the head of it, because she's the founder, So we get some sponsorship by Coca-Cola, American Express, the big dogs.
Yeah, no doubt. So before we get out of here, is there anything else that you want to say, or you want people to know how they can get in touch?
They can reach me at I'm just going to give them one email address, because they can always reach me at preciousmckesson@gmail.com. They can reach me on Facebook under Precious Monique. I had to change my name on Facebook because sometimes I get people that inbox me, like crazy political people inbox me. But it's cool though, now I know how to control it. But definitely, reach out to me if you want to get involved with some canvassing. We'll start doing some canvassing this summer. Last year I was honored to be able to hire 14 Black women in the community. And I'll tell people, I'm $15 an hour. to work for the Democratic Party and for them to go and canvass and do different text messaging. We have so many different mechanisms to get involved. So we'll be hiring people this summer. 2020 is coming. We are really staging everything so that when 2020 hits next year for elections, we're taking over. We're taking back all of our seats. We're taking back over the presidents. We're doing everything we can to make sure that we take over, and especially here in Nebraska. So if you want to get involved, call me. Email me. You can always email me at either precious@nebraskademocrats.org or preciousmckesson@gmail, or nonaomaha@gmail.com. Any of those email addresses will come to me. You can find me on Facebook. I respond.
Right.
My phone number is like all the way down 24th Street on these recycled containers. It's been there. I was like, oh, my name is still on there with my phone number. So either way,
you reachable.
Just reachable. Just want to get people engaged, get them voting, and get them really like. Let's just make our turnout better, because right now sometimes they don't give us the benefit of the doubt that we can really come out and make some major changes.
Right on. Well, like I said in the beginning, I'm very proud. We're proud of the work that you do, and any way we can support you, we will.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
I appreciate it.
So I thank you for coming out, and being with us today.
Thank you.
So, like I said, if you want to be involved, you can be involved. Reach out. People reachable. You don't have to just sit on social media and complain. You can get active, and if you have a problem being a part of the system, then speak on it. Let it be known so that your voice can be heard. You're not just out here being one of those people who say a lot of stuff, but they don't do a lot of stuff. So with that, I'm gonna say peace, and we'll see y'all next time.